Resident Evil is one of the most iconic horror franchises in gaming history. Creeping hallways, flesh-eating zombies, and characters that grew into legends. So, when Netflix promised a return to survival horror roots, fans hoped. They really hoped. When the trailer for Welcome to Raccoon City dropped, it actually looked promising, full of references, recognizable locations, and scenes recreated straight from the games. It seemed like, maybe for once, we were getting a faithful, grounded adaptation that respected the source material. But instead, what we got was a confused, creatively compromised mess that tried to stitch together two beloved games into one low-budget movie and lost the soul of both. Let's be honest. One of the film's biggest failures stems from something we're seeing more and more: the pressure to follow modern creative mandates. This isn't about diversity or inclusion being inherently bad. It's about lazy, box-checking storytelling replacing organic character arcs. Let's talk about Claire Redfield. In the games, Claire is smart, resourceful, and emotionally grounded. She's not a soldier, but she adapts to survive. She makes mistakes, learns from them, and often relies on teamwork to get through impossible odds. But in Welcome to Raccoon City, Claire is written like a modern-day Mary Sue. She's never wrong. She never stumbles, never asks for help, always telling everyone what to do. She even ends up teaching Leon, an actual police officer, how a gun works. Instead of feeling earned or empowering, these moments feel manufactured. They break immersion because they exist not to serve Claire's character, but to appease mandated checkboxes. In the games, Claire was a symbol of inner strength and compassion. In the movie, she's flattened into a trope, the flawless action girl who never loses. That's not empowering, it's boring, and worse, it comes at the expense of every other character around her. Now let's talk about Leon S. Kennedy, one of the most iconic characters in the entire Resident Evil franchise. In the games, Leon starts out green. He's a rookie, yes, but he's brave, decisive, and rises to the occasion under impossible pressure. His first day on the job, he walks into hell, and he becomes a hero. That's who Leon is. In Welcome to Raccoon City, Leon is unrecognizable, not just because of a race swap to fill a diversity requirement, but because the essence of his character is destroyed. He's portrayed as a bumbling, inept comic relief character. He doesn't know how to use a shotgun. He gets laughed at by his fellow officers. He's mocked, ignored, sidelined. There's no growth, no competence, no spark of the character fans love. And remember the iconic Get Down scene from RE2? It's missing here, not because the story didn't call for it, but because letting a male character give a command that saves a woman's life is unacceptable in modern Hollywood. These choices didn't just misrepresent characters, they weakened the entire narrative. One of the boldest and most baffling decisions Welcome to Raccoon City made was combining the events of Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 into a single night. In the games, the Spencer Mansion incident and the Raccoon City outbreak are connected, but they're not simultaneous. This separation gave the franchise room to grow, allowed characters to develop, and grew the impending terror on a global scale with each installment. But in the film, everything happens at once. The RPD is under siege while the Mansion team is also getting wiped out. It's a logistical mess. It kills suspense. It rushes character arcs. And worst of all, it makes future sequels, if they even had a plan, nearly impossible. If Jill, Chris, Claire, and Leon have already survived everything in one night, how do you do Nemesis then? There's no room to escalate because the foundation is already broken. The lore of Resident Evil is rich and interconnected. Collapsing it into a single night doesn't just disrespect that. It shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how horror storytelling works. Director Johannes Roberts clearly tried to emulate John Carpenter's style, and at first glance, you can see it. Dim lighting, static shots, moody synth, claustrophobic spaces. But here's the problem. Style without substance falls flat. Carpenter's films worked because they served a coherent story. Welcome to Raccoon City tries to wear that style like a mask, but underneath, there's nothing. The cinematography is often too dark to see. The sets feel cramped, not creepy. And the slow burn pacing doesn't build tension, it just drags. This wasn't atmospheric, it was just underproduced. And sure, budget constraints played a role, but instead of working around those limitations with creativity, the film tried to pass minimalism off as mood. The film didn't deliver on what was advertised. It was edited to look like a faithful adaptation, while the actual end product cut corners, ignored major canon points, and reimagined beloved characters into unrecognizable versions of themselves. And the worst part? This kind of bait and switch doesn't just let down fans, it damages the credibility of the entire franchise. It convinces casual viewers that this is what Resident Evil is, when it's not. With each failed attempt, Hollywood tarnishes the brand until the industry convinces itself that Resident Evil is just not something people want to watch. After Welcome to Raccoon City, Netflix doubled down with its own Resident Evil series, a bizarre, bloated sci-fi drama that had almost nothing to do with the games beyond a few names and brand references. Instead of delivering the grounded, terrifying world of viruses, bioweapons, and corporate horror, we got teenage drama and cringe-inducing dance numbers. And once again, fans were blamed for not getting it. But that's not true. Fans have always shown up, whether for the RE2 remake, the animated films, or even the flawed but fun original Anderson movies. The demand is there. What audiences are rejecting isn't Resident Evil. They're rejecting bad storytelling wearing Resident Evil's skin. This false narrative that audiences just don't care has become a convenient excuse. But it's not the audience's fault these adaptations keep missing the mark. It's the creatives who walk into the franchise thinking they know better than the source material. Resident Evil isn't just about zombies, it's about human vulnerability. It's about ordinary people facing extraordinary horror and rising to meet it. Fans love this franchise not just because it's scary, but because it has heart. Characters grow, lore deepens, the world unfolds like a virus spreading in ways you never expect. An adaptation doesn't need to be a shot-for-shot remake, but it does need to respect what made the games special: the tone, the pacing, the characters, the stakes. Instead, Welcome to Raccoon City gave us checklist writing, character assassination, broken canon, and a stylistic mask that couldn't hide the film's empty core. Resident Evil deserves better. Not just for the fans, but for the legacy of one of horror's greatest franchises. Give us the lore, give us the mystery, give us the mansion and the outbreak in a blood-soaked hallway. So yeah, the reason Hollywood keeps failing Resident Evil, it's not just bad luck, it's built into the system. But it's not all doom and gloom, because in an upcoming video, we'll be diving into fresh ideas that could actually bring the Resident Evil franchise back from the dead. So if you're a fan of classic Resident Evil, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.